This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for November 8th, 4:30 p.m. We have newly formed Tropical Storm Sean just northeast of the Bahamas, southwest of Bermuda. By the way, our current feature at Hurricane City is the island of Bermuda, and there's about 2 days, 2 hours, and 40 minutes before the sustained tropical storm force wind field approaches the island. Now, yesterday the system was a subtropical storm, meaning that the center was not consolidated. There was still a frontal system attached to the system, and it was broad in nature, but now it's consolidated around a tightly formed circulation right here, and the banding is all the way around the center now, so we now have a purely tropical storm. The cloud tops are intensifying around the center, and the forecast now calls for this to pass just north of Bermuda as a strong tropical storm before a cold front approaches and starts to merge the system with the cold front while moving into the North Atlantic. But the system, as you can see here, is really taking on a nice tropical characteristic. Speaking of which, my brother's name is Sean. I've been teasing him about this because it looks like this is not going to amount to much. It'll be maybe a strong tropical storm. There is an outside chance this could become a hurricane as it passes north of Bermuda, but it looks right now that this is not going to have any direct impacts on land as a hurricane, but it will bring tropical storm force winds to the island of Bermuda. Now, as usual in these tropical update videos, we go over the best performing model on each storm, and for this particular storm going out 48 hours, the best performer is the Aviation Ensemble Model number 2, and here it is graphically shown at tropicalatlantic.com. And the system moves west for a while, then north, and then just north of the island of Bermuda, and of course Bermuda is right here. So the system should pass north of Bermuda and into the North Atlantic. Now, again, this could pass a little further east. We'll see if the models shift any further south and if they're indicating that this is going to get stronger than what's anticipated. But right now it looks like it'll be a tropical storm just north of the island of Bermuda going into Friday morning in the early morning hours. Now here is the, actually let me hand this out a little bit. The system is forecast to be just north of Bermuda. In fact, here is the closest point of approach to Bermuda, and this will be on Friday morning at 7 a.m. and there is the island of Bermuda right there, and there's the center where the red circle is, where the system should be at that point. That's about 52 nautical miles north of Bermuda as the system is moving quickly off to the northeast. But there should be strong southwest winds in the island of Bermuda. Now here is the map of all the models combined running the HurTrack program, and you can see that the majority of the models keep it just north of Bermuda while turning north into the Atlantic. There's still a sprinkling of models here that want to take it into the Canadian Maritimes, but none of the models take it toward the United States. In fact, I ran all the former hurricanes in history that were in this exact location. Only one came up right around this time of the year, and it was a system that was down in the Caribbean and moved up like this through the Bahamas and then dissipated right at this point. So there's really not a whole lot to show you in that graphical presentation. So there's not a lot of model history on this position at this particular time of the year, but again, the most likely scenario is northeast this time of the year. Now here is the forecast cone of error from the National Hurricane Center, and you can see that the system is, a lot of the icons are all clustered together here, meaning the system is going to meander for the next 36 to 48 hours, and then it's going to quickly get shoved off to the northeast as a cold front comes off the United States and scoops this system up and sends it northeast. And the system should get shredded at this time by strong southwesterly winds associated with the cold front, so this system will weaken after it affects Bermuda quite rapidly. Now look at the 12-foot seas associated with this system. In fact, here in Florida we've had seas up to 12 to 14 feet right on the coast, and there's been a lot of beach erosion in Palm Beach County, here where Hurricane City is located, due to the strong northeasterly winds on the backside of this system, because it was a subtropical system. But today the winds have lightened up here on the coast because the system is consolidating, becoming a purely tropical system. The winds are backing off a little bit, and they're shifting a little further east and consolidating around the center. But 12-foot seas expand out quite a ways with this system. And again, these thumbnails can be found below the tracking chart at Hurricane City. Here are the climatological averages this time of the year. Any system that develops is more apt to move off to the northeast and affect the Bahamas and eastern Cuba and Bermuda on the way out to sea. So this is fairly common for November systems. I want to remind you that I had Richard Horodner, Storm Chaser, on the Weather in the Media show on November 1st. That archive is on the front page of Hurricane City, clickable. It's about a 2-hour show. Richard went over his whole career, all the hurricanes he's intercepted, way before video cameras were even available to the general public. He's been filming some storms and taking photographs of the storms back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And we talked about the current chase situation as well. That archive can be found by archive subscribers at Hurricane City, and that is what fuels Hurricane City. If you're not already a subscriber, visit the subscription page on the front page of Hurricane City using the drop-down menus, and it's $20 annually, which is pretty cheap to get all the recorded shows and hurricane warning shows and everything else, kickoff show, end of season show, and all that. But Richard has all his videos available on his website, canebeard.com. Give him a visit and see all the really neat videos he has of all the past hurricanes that you may have been in back in the past. All right, well, that's about it for now. We'll keep track of Tropical Storm Sean and see what it does. Again, our current feature is the island of Bermuda. Our next show, by the way, is going to be on November 30th, the last day of hurricane season, the end of season broadcast. If a named storm does not affect South Florida between now and then, I will be dressed in a hot dog suit at the end of the year, so I'll have more updates about that coming up. But that's it for now. We'll be back with an update in another 24 hours or so on the situation with Sean. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.